Think your fridge is the safest place for all your food? Think again, especially if you're over 60. It turns out, some of the most common foods we refrigerate don't belong there at all. In fact, cold temperatures can actually ruin their taste, change their texture, sap their nutrients, and even create harmful compounds that could impact your health. As we get older, maintaining a healthy appetite and getting the most nutrition from every bite becomes more important than ever. But if your tomatoes are tasteless, your garlic's bitter, or your bread's gone dry overnight, your fridge might be the hidden culprit. So in today's video, we're breaking down 10 everyday foods you should never refrigerate, and why keeping them cold could be doing more harm than good. Stay with me till the end so you can stop making these mistakes and start enjoying fresher, tastier, and healthier food, especially if you're a senior. Number 1. Potatoes. Let's start with a food just about everyone keeps in their kitchen: potatoes. Now, it might seem logical to toss them in the fridge to keep them fresh longer, but that's actually one of the worst places you can put them. When potatoes are exposed to cold temperatures, something surprising happens. The starch in them starts to convert into sugar. Sounds harmless, right? But this sugar alters both the taste and texture. Instead of that familiar fluffy or creamy consistency, you get a gritty texture and an oddly sweet flavor that just doesn't work, especially when frying or baking. Even more concerning, when these sugar-loaded potatoes are cooked at high heat, they can produce a chemical called acrylamide, which has been linked to cancer in several studies. That's definitely not something you want on your plate, especially as we age and our bodies become more sensitive to these kinds of exposures. Refrigeration also creates a moist environment, which potatoes hate. The moisture encourages mold, bacteria, and spoilage, often turning them soft and smelly far quicker than you'd expect. So what's the better option? Store your potatoes in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated space, like a pantry, a cellar, or even a paper or mesh bag tucked away in a cupboard. Never use plastic bags. They trap moisture and make everything worse. Here's a crucial senior-specific tip: never eat potatoes with green skin. That greenish tint is caused by solanine, a natural toxin that can build up when potatoes are exposed to light. Eating solanine in large amounts can lead to nausea, headaches, and even confusion or neurological symptoms, and that's especially risky for older adults. Also, keep your potatoes away from onions. While they might seem like natural neighbors in the pantry, onions release gases and moisture that can cause your potatoes to spoil much faster. So, next time you buy a sack of potatoes, skip the fridge. Give them a cool and dry home. Number 2. Tomatoes. Now let's talk about tomatoes, a staple in so many kitchens, whether you're slicing them for sandwiches or tossing them in salads. But here's something most people don't realize: putting tomatoes in the fridge can actually ruin them. Tomatoes are delicate fruits that continue to ripen after they're picked. But when you store them in cold temperatures, that natural ripening process stops completely. Instead of becoming juicier and more flavorful, they end up with a bland, washed-out taste and a mealy, unpleasant texture. But it's not just about taste. Refrigeration also damages tomatoes' nutritional value, especially one of their most powerful compounds, lycopene. Lycopene is a potent antioxidant that helps reduce the risk of heart disease and prostate cancer, two serious concerns for many seniors. When tomatoes are chilled, the lycopene levels drop, which means you're missing out on a key health benefit that this humble fruit naturally provides. So how should you store your tomatoes? Keep them at room temperature, away from direct sunlight, and place them stem side down. This helps slow moisture loss and keeps bacteria from entering through the stem scar. It's best to let them ripen naturally on your counter. Don't rush the process. Just as importantly, keep them away from ethylene-producing fruits like bananas and apples, which can speed up ripening too fast and cause spoilage. Now, for seniors who may only shop once a week and worry about tomatoes going bad, yes, you can refrigerate them if they're very ripe and you need to buy yourself a couple of extra days. But here's the trick: always bring them back to room temperature before eating them. This helps restore some of their natural flavor and juiciness, making them much more enjoyable and more nutritious. So the next time you bring home those beautiful red tomatoes, give them the countertop treatment they deserve. You'll preserve their rich flavor, protect their health benefits, and enjoy your meals a whole lot more. Number 3, onions. Let's take a moment to talk about onions, a comforting, flavorful foundation in so many of our favorite dishes. Whether you're making a hearty soup or sautéing them for a home-cooked meal, onions add that familiar taste and aroma we all know and love. But here's a gentle reminder: your refrigerator is not the best place for them, especially if you're hoping to keep them fresh, flavorful, and safe. When onions are stored in the cold, the starches inside them turn to sugar, which causes them to soften, become overly moist, and sometimes even slimy. That beautiful crisp bite disappears, and instead, you're left with an onion that feels and tastes off. Even more concerning, the high moisture in your fridge can lead to mold, and because onions naturally absorb odors, they may also take on the smells of everything around them, which is hardly appetizing. To keep your onions at their best, store them in a cool, dry, well-ventilated area, like a pantry or cupboard. Choose mesh bags, paper bags, or open baskets that allow airflow. Avoid plastic bags, which trap moisture and speed up spoilage. And here's an important tip: don't store onions near potatoes. While they may seem like pantry partners, potatoes release moisture and gases that can cause onions to spoil more quickly. Now, a gentle word of caution just for our senior friends: if you notice sprouts growing from your onions, it's a sign of declining freshness and nutrient loss. In large quantities, those green shoots can even be mildly toxic, causing digestive upset or discomfort, something none of us need. So next time you bring home a few onions, skip the fridge. Give them a dry, breezy space to rest, and they'll reward you with better flavor, longer shelf life, and safer meals. It's a small change that can make a big difference in your kitchen and in your well-being. Number 4, garlic. Now let's talk about garlic, a true powerhouse in the kitchen and in our health routines. Many of us have cooked with it for years, and some even use it as a natural remedy. But did you know that storing garlic in the fridge can quietly rob it of its best qualities? It's true, and especially as we age, preserving garlic's benefits is more important than ever. When garlic is placed in a cold, damp environment like the refrigerator, it tends to sprout prematurely. These green shoots not only make the garlic taste bitter, but they also signal that the bulb is starting to lose its nutrients. One of the most valuable compounds in garlic is allicin, the very substance that gives garlic its strong aroma and immune-boosting, heart-supporting, anti-inflammatory properties. Cold storage breaks down allicin much faster, which means you're losing out on all those amazing health perks. In addition to sprouting, moisture from the fridge creates the perfect conditions for mold and decay. This shortens garlic's shelf life and could even make it unsafe to use if it becomes too soft or discolored. And because garlic is highly absorbent, it can easily take on other odors and flavors from your fridge, leaving it tasting a bit off. So, what's the best way to store garlic? Keep it at room temperature in a well-ventilated container, something like a mesh basket, an open bowl, or even a clay garlic keeper. The key is airflow. Never use plastic bags or sealed containers, as those trap moisture and speed up spoilage. Here's a gentle reminder: garlic can be especially beneficial for lowering blood pressure, reducing inflammation, and supporting immune function, all critical areas of focus for us as we grow older. but you only get those benefits if you store it properly. So next time you buy garlic, give it the breathing room it needs. Keep it dry, keep it airy, and let it do what it's meant to do: flavor your food and support your health. Number 5, avocados. Now let's talk about avocados, creamy, delicious, and packed with nutrients. They've become a favorite among health-conscious folks of all ages, and for good reason. But if you're like many people, you may be storing unripe avocados in the fridge without realizing it's doing more harm than good. When you place an unripe avocado in the refrigerator, the cold air halts its natural ripening process. Instead of softening and developing that rich, buttery texture we all love, the avocado can stay hard, rubbery, and tasteless. In fact, sometimes it never ripens properly at all. And that's a real shame, because avocados are not just a treat, they're a nutritional powerhouse. The best way to ripen an avocado is to leave it at room temperature, just on your kitchen counter. If you'd like to speed things up a little, place it in a brown paper bag with a banana or apple. These fruits release ethylene gas, which encourages ripening. Once your avocado is soft to the touch and perfectly ripe, then you can refrigerate it, but only if you need to buy yourself an extra day or two before using it. And here's a helpful tip, especially for seniors who may only eat half at a time: store cut avocados with a bit of lemon or lime juice brushed onto the exposed flesh. The citrus slows oxidation and helps prevent that unappetizing brown layer from forming. Be sure to store it in an airtight container to keep it fresh. Now, let's not forget the incredible health benefits avocados offer. They're loaded with heart-healthy fats, potassium, and fiber, which can help support brain function, reduce inflammation, and even lower blood pressure, critical benefits as we age. So, give your avocados the gentle care they deserve. Let them ripen naturally, and you'll be rewarded with better flavor, better texture, and all the nutrients that make them such a smart and tasty choice for senior health. Number 6, bananas. Let's turn to a fruit that's probably sitting on your counter right now: bananas. Soft, sweet, and easy to digest, they're a go-to snack for many seniors. But here's something you might not know: refrigerating bananas can actually ruin their flavor and texture, even if it seems like it'll keep them fresh longer. When bananas are exposed to cold temperatures, their skin turns dark very quickly. It might look like the banana is overripe, but inside, it often remains firm, starchy, and underdeveloped. That's because the cold stops the natural process that converts starches into sugars, which is what gives bananas their sweet taste and soft texture. To enjoy bananas at their best, it's best to store them at room temperature, away from sunlight and heat. If you can, hang them on a banana hook. This reduces bruising and allows for good air circulation. And here's a little trick: if you want to slow down the ripening, simply separate the bananas from the bunch. This slows the release of ethylene gas, which is what causes them to ripen so quickly. Now, here's a helpful bonus tip just for you: if your bananas become too ripe and you're not ready to eat them, don't throw them out, freeze them. Peel and slice them first, then place them in an airtight container or bag. They make an excellent, natural sweetener for smoothies, oatmeal, or baked goods like banana bread or pancakes. Plus, they're full of natural energy, potassium, and fiber, making them a great boost for brain and heart health. So, next time you're tempted to pop your bananas in the fridge, pause and let them ripen gently on your counter instead. You'll be rewarded with a better texture, a sweeter taste, and all the health benefits bananas have to offer, without the confusion of dark skins and bland bites. Number 7, uncut melons, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew. Let's talk about melons. Whether it's watermelon, cantaloupe, or honeydew, these juicy fruits are some of the most refreshing treats, especially during warmer months. But here's something many people don't realize: storing whole, uncut melons in the refrigerator can actually make them lose both flavor and nutrition. When melons are chilled before being cut, the cold temperature slows down the natural sugar development inside the fruit. That means instead of that sweet, juicy bite you expect, you may end up with something bland or watery. The texture can also become a bit grainy, taking away from the pleasure of eating fresh melon. But taste isn't the only thing affected. Refrigeration also lowers the antioxidant content in melons, particularly beta-carotene, which is important for supporting healthy skin, vision, and your immune system. For seniors, who often need those extra boosts in nutrition and hydration, losing those health benefits is a big deal. So what's the best way to store them? Leave your whole melons at room temperature, on the counter or in a cool spot, until you're ready to slice them. This allows them to fully ripen, develop their natural sweetness, and retain their valuable nutrients. Once you cut into the melon, though, that's when refrigeration becomes important. After slicing, store the melon in an airtight container and keep it in the fridge. Be sure to enjoy it within 3 to 4 days to keep it fresh and safe. You can even place a layer of plastic wrap directly over the cut surface before sealing it. This helps prevent drying and keeps the melon juicy. And here's the best part: melons are incredibly hydrating, with a high water content and essential vitamins like vitamin C. That makes them a wonderful, low-calorie way for seniors to stay refreshed, support their immune system, and enjoy a naturally sweet treat without any added sugar. Number 8. Bread. Let's move on to a household staple that brings comfort to many: bread. Whether it's for morning toast, a simple sandwich, or something warm alongside your soup, bread is a familiar part of daily meals. But here's something you might not know: storing your bread in the refrigerator can actually make it go stale faster, not slower. It may sound strange, but cold temperatures cause the starch in bread to crystallize more quickly, which makes it dry out and become hard, tough, and stale in no time. Even if it's still within its expiration date, refrigerated bread can feel like it's been sitting out for days. And to make things worse, the fridge can cause a moisture imbalance. Sometimes the crust gets soggy while the inside dries out. Not the texture you want when you're reaching for a slice. So what's the best way to store bread? If you're going to eat it within a few days, keep it in a bread box or a cool, dry pantry somewhere away from direct heat or sunlight. But if you live alone, or just don't go through a loaf very quickly, here's a better idea: freeze it. Freezing is actually the best method for long-term storage. Just slice the bread first, so you can take out only what you need. Then, when you're ready, toast the slices straight from the freezer, no thawing necessary. The flavor stays intact, and the texture is just right. Plus, freezing prevents mold, which can be a concern if you live in a more humid environment. And here's a gentle reminder for our senior viewers: if your appetite isn't what it used to be and you're eating smaller portions, freezing your bread is a smart, waste-free solution. You'll avoid mold, save money, and still enjoy that fresh, satisfying bite whenever you like. So next time you're tempted to slide your loaf into the fridge, pause. Choose a better storage method that keeps your bread tasty, safe, and ready when you are. Number 9. Olive oil. Let's wrap up with a kitchen essential that many of us use every single day: olive oil. Whether you're cooking vegetables, drizzling it over a salad, or dipping fresh bread, olive oil brings flavor, richness, and amazing health benefits. But here's something that might surprise you: storing your olive oil in the refrigerator can do more harm than good. When olive oil is kept in the fridge, it solidifies and turns cloudy or waxy. Now, this doesn't mean the oil has gone bad, but it does make it a lot harder to use. You'll have to wait for it to return to room temperature before you can pour it properly. That can be a real hassle when you're in the middle of preparing a meal. Even more importantly, refrigeration can create condensation inside the bottle. That little bit of trapped moisture might not seem like a big deal, but over time, it can lead to spoilage or even bacterial growth, something we all want to avoid. And if you're using extra virgin olive oil, which is more delicate, storing it improperly can cause it to lose flavor and go rancid much faster. So, what's the best way to store your olive oil? Keep it in a cool, dark place, not cold, just cool. A pantry or cupboard away from the stove and direct sunlight is ideal. And make sure you're using the right container. Dark glass bottles or stainless steel work best because they protect the oil from light, which can degrade its quality over time. Here's why this matters so much for seniors. Olive oil is rich in heart-healthy monounsaturated fats and powerful antioxidants. It can support brain function, lower inflammation, and protect your heart, especially important as we get older. But you'll only get these benefits if the oil is fresh and well preserved. So, next time you reach for your bottle of olive oil, make sure you're storing it the right way. Keep it cool, dark, and away from the fridge, and it'll stay delicious and full of the nutrients your body needs. Now you know, your fridge isn't always the hero when it comes to keeping food fresh. For seniors especially, proper food storage means better taste, longer shelf life, and more of the nutrients your body needs. Don't let cold temperatures rob you of flavor, texture, or the health benefits you deserve. A few small changes in your kitchen can make a big difference in your well-being. Which one of these foods surprised you the most? Were you storing any of them in the fridge without realizing the harm? If this video helped you, give it a thumbs up and comment below with no fridge mistakes. And don't forget to share this with a friend or family member who might be unknowingly making these same storage mistakes.